Welcome back, everybody. Our next presenting partner today is is it NetGain Solutions, I think, right now, because when we first partnered with them, they had a new lease product that they were offering, and then they also have several in the NetSuite arena, and now they have a new asset management tool that they're going to demo today. So, very innovative company based here in Colorado. We're just talking to Adam earlier. Adam and his partner founded this company after being at EY. They're both local here in Colorado. So even though we'll let Caleb live in Utah, the company headquarters are here in Colorado. So again, we always appreciate Colorado companies partnering with us. Caleb, I'll let you introduce the rest of the team or however you want to do that. And I'll let you guys take it from here. Thanks.
Perfect. Thanks so much for the introduction, Daryl. Everybody, thanks so much for being here. I'm actually going to have Braden introduce himself, and then I'll jump in as well.
Hey, great to meet you. I'm Braden. My background is in SOC auditing. I audited with PwC for a few years and then joined NetGain here about 3 years ago. And I've been the product manager of NetLease and now NetAsset. So very excited to show it off to you.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Braden. Again, my name is Caleb Christensen. I have been working ever since I joined NetGain actually with our standalone products. Some of you may have been on our demo last year for our lease accounting solution. I'm a senior manager here now, still helping CPA firms and their clients, working closely with the COCPA there in Colorado. Today, we are going to take a look at some fixed asset management solution here. We're going to look at our agenda. So we're going to talk about some challenges related to fixed asset management. If you are in that space, you know how hard it can be. And we're excited to go over a product announcement we got today. And we're going to finish up with how you can actually get involved in some exciting things that we're doing for all members of the COCPA as well. Just real quick here, following our demo today, you're going to get our contact information. There's going to be a link related to a discount for our product. We're going to provide some information around NetAsset we're going to send as a follow-up, and then just a copy of this slide deck if you'd like that as well. All right, well, let's jump on in here. So some challenges around fixed asset accounting. Braden mentioned, that he was in audit before this. Honestly, most of our company here at NetGain has a background in audit, tax, or just industry accounting. So almost all of us have touched fixed asset accounting, and we know how complex and challenging it can be. Some of the major areas of pain that we run into are going to be these listed here. So compliance, during financial records, fixed assets, getting them documented on your balance sheet and income statement, getting within the appropriate standards, as well as auto-populating those required tax forms. It can be really, really challenging. It just requires a lot of man hours and it's pretty complicated. One of the things that arises from that is human error. A lot of people are doing this in Excel, doing things in Excel. I'm sure you're familiar. Everything's going to be formula-based, and it takes one person that didn't realize it to mess up a formula, and all of your depreciation schedules are absolutely destroyed. Another one is going to be just these repetitive tasks. So having processes that are done oftentimes in spreadsheets are going to result in just a lot longer close process. If you're doing those roll forwards, you have to do manually every single month. Just getting the financial reporting package put together, it's an arduous task to go through, and it increases that human capital cost. If you've got a controller that's having to spend hours and hours every single month trying to get your fixed asset roll forward put together and your close put together, that's a very costly, time-intensive task. The next one is just going to be books versus tax depreciation schedules. There's differences in how fixed assets are going to be depreciated and accounted for in financial reporting versus just tax purposes. And that discrepancy can cause a lot of confusion, especially when the fixed asset management is not centralized. If you've got multiple locations, departments, and doing it in multiple different spreadsheets, it's really, really challenging to get all that information together and get the appropriate schedules generated and in a timely manner without errors. CIP is a big one here. So even if you have something besides Excel, you're using a solution today, most solutions aren't going to allow you to build up an asset after it's been capitalized. A lot of them will allow you to combine transactions to create one asset. Some don't even allow you to do that, but very few, if any, are going to allow you to build up an asset after it's already been capitalized, which can be a massive pain, if you're dealing with that. And then, of course, the last one is just going to be reporting accuracy. So the lack of or difficulty in allocating asset data by subsidiary, location, department, and business unit is really challenging. It's something that frankly can't really be done in Excel, and it requires something outside of just a basic Excel model to get that accurate reporting, especially if you're segmenting that data. And that's why we're excited today to have this product announcement. So for the past 5 years, NetGain has helped all of our customers, thousands of customers, with their combined 2.6 million plus. I think that number is actually closer to 3 million assets now in our net asset for NetSuite solution. We're really excited to be announcing today to COCPA that we're bringing that same functionality to you, but it's in a package designed specifically for users like yourself. It's just like NetLease, where it's an ERP agnostic solution. It won't matter what solution you're using for your accounting, you'll be able to use our fixed asset solution, and it's going to solve all those problems that we were just looking at. So we're going to quickly go through that here and how net asset for NetLease or net asset by NetGain is going to do that for you. So compliance. Net asset's going to offer AI powered assistance, SOC reports for compliance assurance, automatic integrations with tax reporting into those financial records. This last piece is huge. If you're using Excel right now, it is very, very challenging to get all of that information into your tax reporting software. And our solution is going to have integrations into those tax different solutions that you've got. Human error, advanced calculations, and custom depreciation schedules are going to automate these complex tasks. So it's going to reduce a lot of that manual input and reduce significantly the risk of human error. Repetitive tasks that we discussed, our tool is going to streamline a lot of that. We have another way that AI is going to be used. It's going to intake transaction data and allow you to very, very quickly create transactions and then assets from those. You've got dynamic reporting, again, those integrations, just reducing a lot of the manual tasks and cutting out a lot of the costs that we discussed before. Books versus tax depreciation schedules. So our solution is going to integrate, as I mentioned, both financial and tax reporting systems. So you're going to have consistency between those two, which is a huge issue right now for most companies. We're going to have 10 book depreciation schedules built out already for you. And this number's been updated. I have 40 in here. I just heard this morning, it's actually going to be over 90 depreciation schedules for tax depreciation. So we're going to have you fully covered there. Plus, you'll actually be able to create unique custom depreciation schedules as well. And we're going to look at that in just a second here. Construction in progress, we eliminate that issue that I was just discussing. Not only can you combine multiple transactions to create an asset, but after you've capitalized an asset, you can actually build up an asset as you have new CIP coming in. Reporting accuracy, we are going to have dynamic reporting capabilities with all that integration that it's going to allow you to have timely and accurate reporting across the board. Finally, for oversight, having a cloud-based solution is going to give you real-time access to see exactly where your assets are at, how, what the depreciation is on each one for tax versus book. Whereas if you're in Excel, you have to do a lot of updates at any point in time to see where you're currently at. And all of that is going to be covered now. So with that covered, we're going to jump actually into the software and take a look at that. And this is where I'm really going to involve Braden as well. So Braden has had a really big impact in the build of our net asset solution as our product manager. So everything you see here today, he has been highly influential in putting together. All right, if you are familiar with NetLease, this is going to look really familiar to you, actually. It's going to be built on the same exact module here. The difference is now we're not just looking at lease, but you actually can toggle between lease and assets. We're looking at asset right now. And I want to start by showing you our transactions here. So I clicked on this transaction tab. I mentioned this just a few moments ago here. You can create multiple transactions and combine them to create an asset. So let's actually do this together real quick. I'm going to click on new transaction here. I'll give this just a second to pull up for us. Apologize if my internet's a little slow here. We can type in a new transaction name. We could just call this Caleb's new bike here. Throw in the transaction amount. Maybe I've got a nice new mountain bike here, $5,000. Throw in the transaction date. We're going to say 9/1 of 2024. Any memo related to this, I'd hit create transaction. and you're going to see that this is going to populate in that list. Now I've got a new transaction here. So this is going to be like the invoices related to those. You're going to be able to create a new transaction for each invoice. Then when you're ready to actually create an asset, I would click here on create asset, and it's going to show me the list of transactions that I could, let's say boat and propeller, these two go together. I can then click create asset. I'm going to click OK. And here we're now going to have all the available inputs. So if I scroll down to the bottom, you can see here are the two transactions. We can now add transaction numbers, vendor information, memo information. If we had left that off previously when we created those transactions, you still have the ability to edit those. Coming up to the top here, though, we could name this asset. It's going to be our new boat here. You'll be able to choose the appropriate asset type. Right now, we've just got a vehicle in here, but you'd be able to customize that as well. You'll be able to choose your appropriate depreciation method. I just got 2 in here for today, but again, you're going to have a lot available to you. So I could choose straight line. You'll input, you're going to see that the gross asset value has already been pulled, combining our 2 transactions here. If you have any accumulated depreciation already for this asset, you could put that in here. Throw in the appropriate acquisition date. We'll say that it's the beginning of the year, which is auto-populating our in-service date as well. And you can throw in the end life date here. We're just going to throw in an arbitrary date. We'll say 12/31 of 2048. 2048, there we go. I can also put in my residual value percentage, and this is linked to that estimate there. So let's say I estimate a 10% residual value. It's going to auto-populate my residual value estimate here. Coming down to the bottom, a few more things I wanted to point out here. In the accounting tab, you can throw in the actual quantity of your physical assets here. If you've got unique asset tags, this is really valuable. If you have a lot of assets, you need to be able to track and locate each asset. Having asset tag ID here is going to be really valuable. Throw in that last physical inventory date and any accumulated impairment. Here, I want to show you we've got alternate schedules. So we've actually built here, we've got an alternate schedule for our vehicle here. You can build out as many as you want, custom schedules. You'd be able to throw them in here right now. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cancel this here because we've auto-generated one before this. We're going to look at, let's pull this up here, and this is going to be a work truck.
And while this is loading, I'll point out, Caleb, you saw federal and state representing federal tax, state tax. Those are just 2 of our 10 alternate schedules, fully customizable. You can name them whatever you would like and have up to 10 additional schedules linked to one asset.
Awesome, thanks. So Braden created our work truck asset earlier, and we're going to click on that now here. It's going to look very familiar to that record we were just creating. All of those same input fields are here. You can see, though, that this asset has now been capitalized. He's done that. We've got our appropriate dates, the asset value, and the schedules here. So this is so awesome. All the relevant information in one place here. So it looks like he selected his depreciation method straight line. So our main depreciation schedule down here is going to show our straight line depreciation. Every row here is going to represent a period. We can scroll through here and see the accumulated depreciation building. All of this is going to be recorded here, but this is just for books. Let's say you need to get your tax schedule as well. This is where we're going to see this come into play for federal. All of the unique inputs for that federal schedule is going to be listed here. It looks like this is going to be a maker's 5-year first quarter depreciation method. We can see the appropriate in-service and end dates here. So if those differ from book, you can have that in here. Maybe it has a different value as well, book to tax here. You'll be able to throw in that unique asset value. We can come down here and now see that we have a totally different depreciation schedule listed out here below. So it's just 6 periods as opposed to what we were looking at in our straight line depreciation. Anything you would add here, Braden, related to this unique custom schedule?
No, I think you've covered it real well.
Okay, perfect. I also want to point out here our documents tab. This is really valuable. We mentioned at the beginning of the call that this is for CPA firms as well as companies. If you're being audited, your auditors are going to need to have a lot of information from you. A lot of the times it takes a significant number of hours to gather all the related documents for each asset, that related invoices for each transaction and everything. This documents tab is going to save you and them quite a bit of time and effort. we recommend uploading all the relevant documents. If you're using our AI extraction that I mentioned earlier, it's actually going to auto-save all of those PDFs, with the invoice PDFs to generate those transactions. They'll all be here, and we highly recommend that those be used. You'll notice that we've got revaluations and disposals here as well. So this is where you're going to be able to track the actual impact, the P&L impact for revaluations and disposals. And I'd love to show you just how easy it is to do those, because doing this in Excel is very time intensive, it's painful, and it's usually error prone as well. So I'm going to come up to my asset actions here, and I'm going to click on revalue. Give this just a second to load. Perfect. You've got a lot of different revaluation types. Here you can see we've got perspective, needs to place depreciation on hold and assets coming out of service. You're doing some sort of customization, a truck, for example, a write up, a write down, and then build up, which is really one of the unique pieces here of our software. Our software is going to be easier to use than pretty much anything on the market, but not just that, we can do things that really none of the other solutions are going to be able to offer, the CIP buildup being one of those. I throw in all the relevant information here for the revaluation date, new accumulated depreciation, all this. I click revalue asset, and my record is going to immediately be updated. If you're using Excel, it'll be really mind-blowing how much time you're going to save being able to do that here. So let's cancel out of that. And I now want to show you how easy it is to do disposals as well. So click on dispose. Here, you're just going to record the appropriate period to dispose your asset, any notes. Again, going back to the relationship between you and your auditor, you would now have an opportunity to record all of this information so that when your auditor comes in, auditing those fixed assets, they have less questions for you. They see that you dispose of an asset, they can look at the notes, you've got all the relevant information there for them, saving you a lot of back and forth here. Put in the appropriate, cash received, and any cash paid to dispose of this. You will click dispose asset, and this is going to be recorded here. In real time, your record will be updated. So here we've looked at how to create assets from transactions that you've been able to create unique schedules. But one of the most valuable pieces of software here is the reports that are generated as a result of this. So I'm going to hand things over to Braden for a second, and he's going to talk to that.
Yeah, I'll just briefly chat through the reports that you'll be able to see in here. So you'll have your standard journal entry reports to book your monthly depreciation, the capitalization of your assets. You'll also have your asset waterfall and asset roll forward reports to track additions, disposals, the depreciation of the asset along its life. You'll be able to run these reports for your primary schedule, your book schedule, as well as for the 10 alternate schedules. So you'll be able to pull out your tax depreciation for a given year and see it all consolidated there nicely for you. So yeah, that's what we have for reporting. I'll pass it back to you, Caleb.
Fantastic. What I want to do now is I'm actually going to jump over to the admin page because we've alluded to some of the cool customization you can do. I want to be able to show you that now. So I'm going to click on client admin. You can see we're looking at our asset demo co. It's going to take me to the administrative page here. There's a lot we could look at right now. I'm going to save that for a full demo. We can jump online together if you want to see a full demo of this. Be happy to do that. But I want to click right now on depreciation methods. So right now we've got these two in here. We mentioned that this is an early look here. You guys are the early adopters. Our product actually launches on October 1st. And when that occurs, you're going to see 90 tax depreciation schedules, the 10 book depreciation schedules. But in addition to those that you would see listed here, we also have the option of clicking add depreciation method. I think this is so awesome. I can choose if I want to use table or formula, and I can create my own unique custom formulas. So if we use table, you can see here, period one, maybe I'm going to take 50% in year one. In year two, I'm going to take 10%. I can continue to show this here, just totally custom, not reliant on anything that we had built out already. And you'd be able to save this and use it now for your assets if you have a really unique way that you are depreciating. We're not just limited to table though. If I click on formula here, I'm going to open up depreciation method formula reference. You actually can create your own in-service formula. We've got all the references available to you here. So if you have just a very unique situation where you've got an asset that has to be depreciated in a very unique way outside of your 90 tax methods or 10 standard book methods, you can do that here really with no limitation. It's creative as you want. A common scenario that I'll say that we see on our net asset for NetSuite is going to be daily depreciation. If you need to create a unique custom daily depreciation method, you'd be able to do that here. Anything you'd want to add to this, Braden?
No, I think you've nailed it. That's great.
Yeah, perfect. Well, one last thing that I want to mention, we're going to have a little bit of time for questions, and I'm going to jump back into my presentation here in 1 second. But I just wanted to point out again here, this is the same module as our lease accounting solution. So anybody that's using NetLease right now is going to also be able to see net asset. And we actually are going to offer 10 assets for free with full functionality. So if you're using our lease accounting solution right now on October 1st, when you log in, you will see assets show up. You can play around, add 10 assets for free, no obligation there, and you'll be able to really test out that tool before you decide even to pay for it. Let's jump back over here real quick. Just to highlight again, you're going to be able to manage your asset lifecycle significantly more efficiently than using Excel or really any other tool in the market. To highlight 4 big areas: asset creation, build it from CIP, really advanced roll forward and waterfall reporting, alternate depreciation schedules, and unique system integrations. Having just those 4 things here it's going to save you a lot of time, and in turn, it's going to save you a lot of money. So by being on this call today, I'm really excited to be able to show you that you have the option to join our early adopters list. I've got a little QR code here. This is part of why we're going to be sending you this slide deck afterwards, so you don't have to scan this right now. You're certainly welcome to. It'll also have the hyperlink here. If you click on this link and join that wait list, you will have access to a 20% off that first year of using net assets. So I highly recommend clicking on this, at least join that wait list. You're not obligated to purchase by joining this wait list, but that is going to lock you in to receive that 20% off of year 1, which is great savings for an already very cost-effective product. All right, Braden, anything you want to add before we turn things over here for questions, if anybody has any?
I'd just like to add, we've walked through a lot of these actions on a one-off basis, adding one transaction, adding one asset, but our product will have the ability to do mass creation for your transactions, your assets. So it'll be really easy to handle bulk and really efficient to do it that way. So that's everything that I have.